Hey, Persian Wells here. Uh, Today is January 21st. It's the coldest day of the year and probably the coldest day that's going to get in South Louisiana where I am. Right now it's about 30, it's in the 30s outside. So anyway, but I'm nice and warm in my studio. But I digress. Today I'm crossing some new bridges, technologically speaking. Invested in this device here, which I haven't unboxed yet. This is made by Boss. It's wet right here. I don't think it's going to affect anything. It's a tube amp expander, and I'll quickly try to explain it as most of us can understand it. All these amps is Marshalls, this Mesa, this Marshall, that Twin, that Gibson, we got an orange Tiny Terror. These are all tube amps, all of them. And all tube amps have a sweet spot. That is, you turn to a certain level, and that's where it sounds the best. And you know, amps like these Marshalls, this Mesa, the Twin, all of them, they're all basically the same, have the same attitude. That is, you got to get them to a certain level before they sound good. And as we all know, as all musicians, working musicians know, that's been a conundrum, man. That's been an issue, trying to get, going out in any size place that you play, from a small club to an outdoor venue, having one amp that can sound glorious everywhere. Now, they invented master volumes, which this JVM has. This Mesa has a master volume. But this Marshall doesn't. That Twin didn't come with one. It doesn't have one now. But the Gibson doesn't have a master volume either. It's just got a volume control. This Marshall right here, which is a mini Plexi, is SV20. It's one of the new Marshalls. And it is a Plexi. It sounds like a Plexi. It just doesn't have the wall-shattering volume that the big ones do. The issue has always been, going into a place, and where this Marshall sounds the best is with the volume on about 7. But the volume on 7 typically even this amp will knock walls down, or it'll piss off your other players because you're too loud. So that's the age-old issue of guitar players trying to get the right vibe and the right volume. This is where this is going to come in, I'm hoping, and I haven't even unboxed it yet, as you can see. But this device goes between the amplifier and the speaker, which I have one here, or the amplifier and the DAW, or your computer recording equipment, and it attenuates the volume so that you can plug, like this 50-watt Marshall, plug this into the 50-watt Marshall, or it into the Marshall into this, and then this into the DAW, or this into a speaker, and you can control the volume with it. It's a reactive low device, which means it acts like a speaker. That's some of the technical stuff, and I won't dive into that, but it acts like a speaker. So the difference between this device, which again I haven't opened it, and a typical reactive load or an attenuator. Well, one thing, it's a lot more expensive than a typical attenuator. But this has a built-in 100-watt Class AB power amp where you can basically reamp the speaker. That sounds a little strange to some folks maybe who don't know how this works, but again, man, the 100-watt amp in here is basically just amplifying what's coming out of the speaker output of these amps, which is the glorious mode. So I can put this amp on, whatever sweet spot that is, and this Marshall will never put the master volume above 4. I have put this on 7, but again, it's loud. This Mesa is a beautiful amp, It's only 25 watts too, but it can blow walls down. So again, man, where these amps start sounding good is when you can crank that master volume up to a certain level, get the tubes working, and that's where you get all the sounds you've heard on every rock and roll record from the late 60s on. So I'm excited, and you know, this is a beautiful recording device. I'll be able to record these amps in the middle of the night without, you know, blowing out walls, affecting my neighbors or my wife or anybody. So next will be the little unboxing of it. So this is the Boss Tube Amp Expander. All right, this is the unboxing of the Boss Tube Amp Expander that I just got today, January 21st, I believe, 22nd, possibly it's Friday. And I'm going to explain pretty much what it is, why I bought it. So I'm unboxing it now. Got it from Sweetwater. Those guys always do a good job. Nice packaging here, which I like to recycle. One of those hippie types. Sweetwater stuff. Always nice to use that. And this is it here. The Waza Tube Amp Expander by Boss. This large box out of the way. It's a little slightly tight in here. Been looking at these for 2 years, man. They've been out for 2 years. And finally pulled the trigger on it. Manual, which I will read. I like to keep the box intact, just in case. Nice IEC cable, and some pretty heavy rack mount kit right there. And this is it. It's pretty heavy, which I expected to have a little weight. I'm sure it's like a transformer and amplifier. It's upside down. Out there, and it's the coldest day of the year so far, and probably going to be the coldest day of the year, period. In the 30s out there in South Louisiana. Anyway, this is it, man. See pictures of it. Like I said, it's got some weight. It's the front. And, the back. It's cold. I think I'm going to let it just kind of reach ambient room temperature before I hook it up. In a FedEx truck. But I'm excited about it, man. It's again, goes between the amplifier and the speaker, or the amplifier and the recording device, DAW, tape, whatever it may be, and allows you to run your high-powered tube amps silently if you want. So I'll be able to record with a Marshall in the middle of the night if I want to come in here and cut some rock and roll stuff. And I don't have to worry about mic and a speaker cab. You know, my place isn't soundproof. And I've got, you know, some ways that I can adjust to where it's not nearly as loud as typically, but this will allow me to do it silently. And I've heard some stuff on YouTube, and it's awesome. So the Boss Tube Amp Expander at Digital Sacalait Productions. Next phase is going to be hooking it up. It's Pershing Wells in South Louisiana on a cold January 21st, 22nd, not sure. Day, it's in the 30s outside. I'm on the Gulf Coast, man, and it never gets this cold. Hence the sweater. which I get to wear rarely down here. But anyway, this is about the Waza tube amp expander that I just got. This device here. I got it this afternoon. I've had it set up for a couple of hours now, so I kind of want to do a little quick demo on it. So far, man, it's everything I thought it would be. Kind of explained what it does. Right now, it's hooked to this Marshall SV20. Marshall SV20. Waza tube amp expander, 16 ohm output into, or actually 16 ohm output on the speaker, on the amp, into the 16 ohm input here, out of this into the speaker. The way I have it so I can demo it is, I've got a mic, which I think is off camera. Here it is. It's a MD421 Sennheiser. On the orange, on this orange cab, which is a 1x12, it's got a cream back in it. It's got a Celestion Creamback 65. I put in a couple of years ago. And I've got the amp set on 7, the volume of the amp, which is the sweet spot for this SV20. And I've got I've got the treble up slightly. I'll start with it at 12 o'clock just so we can kind of have some reference. So everything, the presence, all of the knobs are at 12 o'clock with the exception of the volume controls, which are at 7. And the channels are jumped. So again, I'll tell you how it's plugged in. I've also got a room mic, which is up here for my voice mostly. But, I'll play that back so we can hear the room. And I've got going out of the line out of the Waza Craft, the TAE, into a Nave clone mic pre. And that's going into a 76 style compressor. They're both by Warm Audio, by the way. And into the line input of the WA73 EQ. But the EQ is flat. But I do have a little compression because I want to see how that works. And right now, man, plugged into this Les Paul Special, which has got P90s. Trying to make sure the glare doesn't get in. And again, man, I'm not going to get real in depth. I'm gonna try to get in depth. I'm actually going to try to play this with a track sometime soon. I'm a working producer, so this is taking 3 hours of my time already, which is good because I want to check this thing out. So anyway, quickly, when you plug into a Marshall amp like this SV20, it's a non-master volume amplifier. It's designed after the big brothers from back in the day of rock and roll, the late 60s to the mid-late 60s to till now. But in the beginning, there were non-master volume amplifiers, which meant that you could play it softly, but you barely turn it up, and you couldn't get that crunch that Marshall is known for. So fast forward a few years, everybody starts to learn, all these rock gods start to learn that the sweet spot on a Marshall like this is about 7, with the volume on 7. Now with a Super Lead or a Plexi 1959 or a 1987, 1959 is a 100-watt Marshall, 1987 is a 50-watt Marshall, either one of those. You put the volume on 7, you're going to blow walls down. This SV20, it's a 20-watt amp, but it's got the circuitry of a Plexi, the same circuitry basically. Could argue that slight differences, but basically like the 1987 and the 1959. I've heard more like the 1959, which is a 100-watt version. It does have the big tubes, EL34s, not the little non-manly tubes. But this amp by itself, if I plugged it into this cabinet and I put it on 7, I'd be vibrating stuff. I've got acoustic guitars back here that would be resonating. So in a recording studio, which is what I am in now, that's a little issue, man, because I've got to isolate the cab. I turn it if I want to get this vibe. I got to turn it up, and I'm going to play it here in a second to show. I have to turn it up to 7, and I crank the guitar up, and then it's maybe up till 5 o'clock in the evening I can do that. Otherwise, 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, midnight ain't gonna happen. Even in my place, which I've got some quiet rooms, it's just not gonna happen with an amp like this. So I've been looking at this Boss Waza tube amp expander for a couple of years now, and I just decided to pull the trigger on it. And I've explained what it is again. So it's a pricey device, man, but it's I think in my environment, the way I'm going to be doing things, it's going to pay for itself in the short term. So anyway, this is a Les Paul Special P90s, and these are known for that honky kind of grungy kind of overdrive stuff that it can do, but it can clean up too, and I'll show you real quick. So again, man, the amp is on 7. All of these tone EQs are on 12 noon, and the Boss Waza is about on 9 o'clock here, the volume, and I'm going to turn it off to show. So if I play real soft, the volume real low, I'm going to get a little echo, I'll turn it off. There's a little reverb. Let me start with it off. So this is just clean. I'm on the neck pickup here. Nice and clean. And I can do stuff like go between that and the bridge pickup. Back to clean. That's just with the volume of the guitar. So that's impressive. That's exactly how this amp works. And tone-wise, man, I don't know. Again, I just got it, and I'm sure I'm in a honeymoon period with it right now. But tone-wise, man, it sounds like the amp. Sounds just like the amp. Again, man, I've got it at, I can talk over this. Even when I'm doing this, I can talk over. And I can go as far as turning this speaker off. So this is directly to the DAW now. There's nothing in this speaker. So I'm going to put it back on 9 so I can hear it. So this is on 9 o'clock, which is pretty loud. I'll turn it up just to see. As you hear, it can get dynamic. So noise gate off. So it's got got reverb. Reverb is nice. This is it. And it's got a delay built into it. So then there's I got my pedal board plugged in here, so I can really get a little raunchy. Noise gate on. It's got a built-in noise gate. I haven't plugged this into a computer yet. So that's a Les Paul Special, which I'll quickly plug a Les Paul Custom. Let's plug a Stratocaster. That's way different. So I'll just quickly play this. This is the Eric Clapton Strat. So it's typical. Slightly. So anyway, that's a quick overview of the Boss Tube Amp Expander. For me, man, it's going to be a studio tool because, like as I say, I can turn the volume off totally and look at all and it's got the cabinet resonance stuff built in, the IR stuff built in, reverb and effects loop built in, so I can bring my all my delays, external delays. It's got delay and reverb built into it, but I can bring a chorus, flange, or whatever, put it in the effects end. This does have an effects end, but this may be a little more efficient. But on a gig, man, it's getting the vibe of this amp, that Marshall vibe, at a manageable volume. And the Marshall vibe is being able to turn yeah, I can't hear my studio monitors. Being able to turn the guitar. Well, this is true with any tube amp though. I should say most tube amps. Being able to turn the guitar down, clean up. To get into something more. And then, you know, on a gig, if I need it louder, I can get it. I can get up to 100 watts. Do everything the same way. Turn it down to where it cleans up. So keep it on 9 o'clock for now. So everything means this is just a master volume basically before the speaker. You can look at it like that. The Boss Waza tube amp expander, and more to come on that one. Pershing here in Houma, Louisiana, digital Sacalait production.